One of the biggest opportunities for AI in e-commerce is rapidly transforming how stores interact with customers. For the past few months, website chatbots were the dominant way for e-commerce stores to get involved with AI, where you could recommend products based on their needs and answer any questions customers may have had using a custom knowledge base. But now, AI phone callers have recently exploded in popularity, with advancements as to how realistic they sound and how quickly they can now respond. You can now build AI voice agents that can call customers and even be called by customers. Here's a really quick demo of how these systems sound.
Hey, welcome to EcoWare. What can we help you with today?
Hey, I was just looking for a red sling bag.
Just a sec. We have a recommendation for you. EcoWare Sling Bag Natural Hemp and Red.
So there you have it. That is an inbound caller for an e-commerce store where we can ask it for a particular product. It was able to find that product, and I've even been messaged, if you can see there, I've been messaged the link to go ahead and actually buy the product. So you can obviously see that these are super powerful systems that sound super realistic, are really quick, and can be pretty advanced. One of the best use cases that I've seen for this type of system is an abandoned cart follow-up system, where if a customer went ahead and added a product to their cart, and then they decided to close the tab or not buy the item, we could set up a system to go ahead, maybe 24 or 48 hours later, it would actually start calling them and it would just ask them why they didn't decide to purchase, if they were still interested in purchasing, and then going ahead and actually giving them some sort of a discount code. And just by doing a quick Google search, I found that 70% of online shoppers abandon their cart. So you can imagine how valuable it is to go ahead and set up these automated voice callers that businesses are not already utilizing. So by setting this up, we should now have a system in place that can begin to start recovering that 70% of customers lost. So this is an incredibly untapped market where e-commerce stores are most likely not even doing this manually. So the benefits are going to be immediate and exponential for the store. Alongside this, we could also have our inbound number where customers can call. And like I showed in the demo, they can call for product inquiries, they can call for product recommendations, they can call to cancel orders and stuff like that. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to build your first AI voice caller for e-commerce. Now to get started, I'm going to be going over the platform Vapi AI. In my previous video, I did a full breakdown of Blend AI, Synflow, and Vapi. But for this video, I'm going to be choosing Vapi for a couple of features that you're going to see in a minute. I will also show you how to set up a fallback where if somebody wants to speak with a human, it'll go ahead and actually start calling your number. By learning these skills, you're going to be able to build incredibly valuable systems that you can go ahead and implement into your own business or sell to other businesses. The best part about this is that this requires absolutely no code whatsoever, and I've designed this tutorial to be super simple to follow along with. So this right here is the Vapi interface, and I'm just going to walk through some of the features. So once you've gone ahead and created an account on Vapi, what you'll need to do is go over to phone numbers. And once you're here, you just need to import a phone number. For this, I'm using Twilio, and all I've done is added in the Twilio account SID and Twilio account authentication token. So all I've done there is gone to Twilio, I've created a brand new account, and then all you need to do is scroll down on the sort of main page of Twilio, and you'll get access to the account SID and authentication token. And all you need to do is paste in those two numbers, and then you'll see at the bottom, it'll give you a number when you sign up, and then just paste that number to the phone number, and you can add a label. That label is just for telling you what that number is, and you can go ahead and it's very simple to do that. So once you've gone ahead and connected a phone number to Vapi, go over to the assistants tab and just create a new assistant. Once you've created a new assistant, you'll just be on a page just like this. And so I'll just go through each of the functions. And so what I'll first cover is the model. So the model is sort of the brain of the assistant. If you've used any sort of AI prompting before, you'll know that the system prompt is a set of instructions that we can give to the AI, and the AI will read these instructions and it will use them to form its answers. So this assistant right here is the one that I demoed just earlier, and its prompt says, "You are a helpful assistant for EcoWare, an ecological bag company. Ask the customer if they are looking for any products in particular and capture their answer. Once you've captured what they're looking for example, I want a red sling bag, then run the product recommendation function and use the response to answer their question." So what's happened in this bit of prompt here is sort of just setting the stage for the bot, how it responds. So I've said, "You work for EcoWare," which is just a bag company, and I'm saying ask the customer if they're looking for any products. It'll start by going down, so it'll see ask the customer if they're looking for any products. So that's the first question it's going to go ahead and ask. If I just scroll up a bit, you'll see first message. So we can set a first message, and that first message is what we heard when you first call it. So when you first call the bot, it says, "Hey, welcome to EcoWare. What can we help you with today?" And then from there, it will move on to the system prompt. All we have to do is sort of just naturally tell it how to act, how to respond, and it's automatically going to be able to turn that prompt into a really realistic sounding voice agent. And so if we look to the right here, we've got a provider as well as a model. The provider that I've chosen is OpenAI, but we can go ahead and choose a whole host of different providers. And these are all different AI companies and AI providers. They give us different models. Just for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to use OpenAI as that's a pretty popular one that I'm sure you probably all know. OpenAI created ChatGPT as well as all of the other GPT models. If you go down here, you can see model. So model is just the more specific type of AI that we're going to be using. So in this case, I'm using GPT 3.5. You could go ahead and use GPT-4 Turbo as well. but that is more expensive. But if you need some more sort of brain power in sort of doing complex prompts, that might be a better choice to make. Now you may have noticed in the prompt I said, run the product recommendation function. So a function is essentially a custom action that we can set up to get sort of external data. So if I just go over to the fourth tab here, functions, what I've set up are 3 different functions. So the purpose of these functions is to essentially recognize that the user requires some sort of external data, such as specific product information, like on the demo I showed. And then what it will do is run a custom function. And so as you saw in the prompt, I said, run the product recommendation function when this happens. So I said, run the product recommendation function and use the response to answer their question. So if I go over to my product recommendation system function, the description of it is, this function will be called to find products within our database to recommend to customers. So what I went ahead and did is clicked on new function. When you click on new function, you'll be given the ability to add a title as well as a small description. The point of this is to let the sort of AI know what the purpose of the function is and when specifically to actually run it. And then what I went ahead and did is added a property. So the properties are specific values that we want to send off. And so what happens here is I've got a product query property. So if you click on properties and add a property, what I've done is simply just said product query. This product will store the user's product query. For example, I want a red sling bag. So we're able to quite easily just type in here exactly what we want in sort of just natural language. And what's going to happen on the back end is it's going to be able to process exactly the transcript that's occurred and understand that they said, I want a red sling bag or something completely different. It's going to then be able to capture that sort of sentence and then put it into our product query property. Then what I did is I set up a make.com automation. So make.com is an automations platform that's going to allow us to run a query with some data, pull that data back, and then put it into our AI response. So just underneath the properties tab, we have a server URL. And so this server URL is my make.com webhook that we make a request to get back some data. So I'll just go ahead and click on setup make. They do have some instructions for make.com built into Vapi, which is good. So you can go ahead and follow these steps to get a make.com automation set up. But ultimately what I've got is this webhook of a make automation. And then you'll see here, this is just a random bit of data. But what it does is it just sends this bit of information in a JSON structure. It will send that over to make.com. It will process that data and it will go ahead and send us some data back. So this right here is make.com, and these are a series of automations that I've gone ahead and set up just for this video to show you exactly how we're able to do quite advanced function calls directly from Vapi using make.com. So to get started, I'll just go into the product recommendation system and how exactly we can build it and then connect it to Vapi. So I'll just do a quick walkthrough of exactly how this actually works. So my first block here is called a webhook, and a webhook is something that we can send requests to. So I've gone ahead and created a webhook here. And so what it gives me is a URL. And so this URL I can use by clicking copy address to clipboard and then going back to Vapi and adding that into my webhook URL. So it's just going to send a bit of data off to our webhook. It's going to then process that data and then we can retrieve it with another webhook response. So once we send that data from Vapi over to make.com, the webhook receives that data and then it moves on through this process sort of step by step. So the next step in make.com after receiving the webhook from Vapi with our data, it's moving on to an OpenAI block. And so this OpenAI block is meant to generate what's called an Airtable formula. So like I briefly showcased earlier in the video, what I'm doing is searching up through a database of products to find which one the user is talking about and then recommend it more specifics. So all that we're doing is using AI to take the query of I want a red sling bag, but turning that into an Airtable formula that we're then sending to an Airtable database just like this. And then we're going to be able to pull back the exact row of product that we want. And then we're able to send that exact row back into Vapi and then recommend that to the customer. So to do this, the OpenAI block is simply generating an Airtable formula. So the prompt in this case says, convert the following query to an Airtable formula. This right here is using the question or the product query from the webhook. So if I just look here, when we make a call to that webhook, it's going to send us some data that looks like this. And we can get all the information about who the caller was with their phone number. We got all the information about the function parameters. So you can see here, query red sling bag. So this is the information that I've just said that it's what I wanted, and it's typed red sling bag in the query there. So that will be replaced with the product query in the prompt. I've got it set up to say if there is no valid query, reply there is no valid query. That's just some error handling to stop the system if it's unable to find anything. Moving down into the system prompt, it says you are an Airtable formula generator. And I've essentially laid out the fundamentals of creating and generating Airtable formulas so that it understands exactly how we need to structure it. So if I just scroll to the bottom of my prompt here, this is what an Airtable formula looks like. So what we've got here is somebody was to say, do you sell any red backpacks? The assistant would output this right here, which is and color equal to red, category equal to backpack. And so the reason it does this is that color and category are our 2 columns within Airtable. So if I go back to Airtable, we can see category as well as color. So all we're doing is giving the AI an understanding of all of our column names, as well as the multiple values that could be within a column. And then all it's doing is assigning a set or a condition filter. And then it's going to look at all of these products and find the ones that match what they're requesting. So if they just ask, have you got a sling bag? It'll set the category to sling bag. And then it will find these 4 products here, which are sling bags. So it'll look through all 4 of these bags here and it will recommend those. So essentially this prompt is saying generate an Airtable formula, and then we've just listed some of the categories that we want to use. So I've just got in category and color. So the only 2 columns that I'm using at the moment, category and color. So I've just typed category is a single select. So a single select is just a type of Airtable field, which is essentially just means that there is a selection of values that you can get in a field, but just type single select for your use case, and then we've got something that just says here are the only colors we offer and here are the bags we offer. So we're just using the 2 values to give an understanding of which values to assign to the Airtable formula. And then we've got some prompt conditioning that just says if they ask for something that's not listed, just assign color or bag that's close so that we can get some sort of a recommendation, and we've provided just a bunch of examples of that. And at the bottom, most importantly, we've just demoed exactly how it should generate a formula just to give it a real understanding of what to do. And so we've got the input, this assistant, and color red, category equal to backpack. So if you do want to get access to this prompt, I'm going to have it in my resource hub link in the description, so you can access to all of these templates for completely free. Moving on from our OpenAI block, and once we've generated that Airtable formula, we're moving over to Airtable to send that formula to Airtable. So all I've done is added an Airtable block, and then I've just filled in the formula with the AI response. I've set a limit of 3 products to come through, but obviously you can set that to whatever you want. And once we've been able to pull that row of data through, we're then setting up a webhook response with the name, price, weight, and size. So we can go ahead and pull that Airtable data back, and it's going to directly send that data to Vapi. So I'm just going to quickly show you how this works. If I just go ahead and click run once, I'm going to go back to Vapi and just click on phone numbers. I'm then just going to click on the number that I uploaded through Twilio. So I've now got the call coming through, and you can see this is the make.com automation. Hey, could I get a blue sling bag?
This'll just take a sec. I recommend the EcoWare Sling Bag in natural hemp blue. It is priced at $233.42 and is a small size bag. Would you like me to send you the product details to your phone number?
So as you can see there, that worked perfectly. You saw the response come in live during the call, and that data was sent back into Vapi and then explained back to me. So if I just click on this number 1 button here, we can see all the data that was sent back. So we can see that it sent the name of EcoWare Sling Bag Natural Hemp Blue off to Vapi, as well as all of this data. And then that assistant just then repeated all that information to me. So if I just go ahead and click into this module here, you'll see that what it outputted was this. So you can see here, color equal to blue, category equal to sling bag. And then what happened is that got sent off to Airtable of this formula, and then that pulled back the product with all this information, and then we sent that product information back into Vapi. Once again, I'm going to have this template within my free resource hub link in the description, so you can get access to this just by cloning it. So the next function that I've gone ahead and set up is a cancel order function, where we can actually call the assistant and ask it to cancel the order for us. So if I go back to the model with our prompt and I scroll to the bottom, what I've added is if the customer wants to cancel their order, please ask them for their order number, repeat the order number, and just ask if it's correct. Then you should run the cancel order function. So if I go back to the functions and go to cancel order, all I've done is simply created a new function. I've added a property for the order number. So now we're specifically capturing the order number the customer provided. And I've gone ahead and changed this from string to number because we're obviously just capturing a number value. And then once again, I'm using make.com and I've added in the webhook URL into the server URL section. And so then this is making a request to this make.com scenario where I've got a webhook to capture the information from Vapi. And then what I'm doing is a search on Airtable. And the reason I'm doing a search on Airtable is that for Shopify orders, there is usually 2 different order numbers that you get given. So there's a customer facing order number as well as an internal order number. So if I just click on the latest order on this sort of fake Shopify store that I set up, we've got an order number that's customer facing of 1003. And then in the URL, we have this sort of internal number that's used to actually identify the orders through the APIs. So just to keep in mind, we do need to actually set up an automation that goes ahead and stores all of the customer facing numbers and then compares them or connects them to their internal facing numbers. So that's just another automation that you need to set up in order to get the data through. But once we've made that search record, it's gone ahead and If we click on the search records, all we're doing is doing another Airtable formula. So like we learned earlier, we can say, and if the order number is equal to the order number that the customer gave us, get back that record. So it's going to find 1003, and it's going to pull back this value through Airtable. And then we can send that number to Shopify to go ahead and cancel that order ID. So going back to Shopify, if I want to go ahead and cancel order number 1003, I've got that already added into our orders database. And then if I go ahead and click run once.
Hey, welcome to EcoWare. What can we help you with today?
Hey, I was just looking to see if I could cancel an order.
Sure, I can help you with that. Can I have your order number, please?
It's 1003.
Great. Just to confirm, your order number is 103, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Hold on a sec. Your order with the order number 103 has been successfully canceled.
So as you can see there, that went through. It's processed that there. If I go to Shopify here, we've got our 1003 order. If I just refresh the page, you can now see right there that's gone ahead and worked. Order number 1003 has been canceled, and that's run through make.com, and there it is. Now lastly, for this assistant, I'll just go through a function that sends an SMS of the product link that they were inquiring about. So this is sort of connected to the product recommendation system, where if I wanted the red sling bag, it goes ahead and then just sends me the link to it via my phone number. So once again, very simply, all it's doing here is saying when the customer wants the product link sent to them, create a property called product. This is the product they wanted, add that in as a string, and then we're sending a request to the make.com webhook where I've got this automation set up. It's exactly the same as the product recommendation system for the first 3 blocks. And then all we're doing is doing a Twilio create a message. So very similar to how we connected Twilio to Vapi, we're just now connecting it to make.com. So signing in and adding in our account SID as well as our authentication token. We'll then get access to our phone number as well as where we want to send the number to. So right here, you'll see we're sending the message to the number that came through the webhook. So the webhook will actually give us the number of the person we're on the phone with. And so all we got to do is just put that into this box here when we click on this, and we can just add that in. And then all I'm doing is saying, hey, here's the product link. And the product link is coming from Airtable. If I go to Airtable here and I scroll across, you'll see that I've actually just added one product link for the red sling bag. So if I go ahead and call it and ask for an SMS link, we'll get that link sent to me. So once again, I'll just test it out. I've now turned it on and I've gone ahead and sent myself a call. Hey, I was just wondering if you had any red sling bags.
Give me a moment. We have the EcoWare Sling Bag Natural Hemp Red for $233.42. Would you like me to send you the product link to your phone number?
Yeah, that'd be great.
One moment. I sent you the link to your phone number.
So there you go. It might be a bit hard to see on my phone there, but I did get sent a link that says, hey, here's the product link. And it's giving me the product link to go to the product and then just buy it through my phone. Now, last but not least, I've got a assistant for cart follow-ups. So this is when somebody goes on a Shopify store and then they abandon the checkout, and then it will notify us. And then we're going to go ahead and call them and say, you abandoned your cart. Why did you abandon your cart? Are you still interested in purchasing? Here's a discount code, and just stuff like that to help recover that sale. So in this instance, compared to the other assistant that we just built, this is going to be an outbound assistant, where this assistant is actually going to be calling our customers rather than our customers calling it. So what I've gone ahead and set up is a make.com automation that actually watches for abandoned checkouts. So this will automatically get set up once you connect your Shopify account. Anytime somebody abandons their checkout, this automation is going to trigger. It's then going to move on to making a HTTP request. And so one really good thing about Vapi is that we can access and send phone calls using an API call or an HTTP request, just like this. And so all I've done here is said, send a request to the URL with a Vapi phone call. It's a post request. So if you're familiar with the API stuff, it's a post because we're sending it off. And then all we've done is added in a bunch of conditions and headers that essentially builds up our assistant. Now, in order to trigger the call via this request, it does require quite a bit of JSON here with our entire sort of call request. This was essentially containing who the customer is with their name as well as their phone number, because we obviously need to know who to call. We've included all of our Twilio data information as well as the phone number in which that's going to be calling. We're including the voice provider, so 11 Labs, as well as a voice ID for a particular voice. And we've also got our entire prompt in here as well. So all of the data that we would typically have over here on Vapi, we've now transformed into a bit of JSON code forward to then send that request over an API request. So obviously this is a bit more advanced, but I'm going to have this entire JSON structure within my free resource hub link in the description. So you can go ahead and just copy this and paste it and start using it by yourself. And another thing that you'll notice within my HTTP request here is if I just scroll down to the first message, that first message that gets read out by the bot, I've actually got a variable in here from Shopify. So what we're able to pull in from the abandoned checkout is that the Shopify knows exactly who abandoned the checkout. So we can actually say, when the assistant sort of initiates, it will say, hey, Brendan, you've abandoned your cart. And so rather than just saying, hey, you've abandoned your cart, it's a lot more personalized because we've gone ahead and actually gotten the name from Shopify. And this is also how we're going to get the phone number to actually call in the first place. We're also just pulling through that phone variable from the abandoned checkout. Obviously, they do have to enter their phone into the checkout for it to know to call them, but you can do a custom checkout in order to get that. So once that call is made, this is the assistant that's going to get sent. So obviously, we've sort of reconstructed the assistant on make.com with that HTTP request. So this is just, I've just copied the prompt back over here. So we can see here, you are a store assistant for an e-commerce store. You call customers who recently abandoned their online cart. If they are still interested in purchasing, ask them if they would like us to send them a 15% off discount code. And then we're essentially just saying, if they're interested, we'll send them a code. If they're not interested, we won't send them a code. So if I just scroll down to our content, which is the prompt that we're giving the bot and the assistant to act on, you're a store assistant for an e-commerce store. You call customers who recently abandoned their online cart. If they are still interested in purchasing, then ask them if we'd like to send them a 15% off discount code. And so obviously if they want that discount code, we'll then trigger an SMS function. So similar to our previous assistant, we're going to send them a message and just send them a 15% off discount code. And then hopefully they're going to obviously use that discount code to make the purchase that they otherwise wouldn't have. And then from there, we've recovered a sale. So what you can do as well is go and right click on this module and just hit run this module only. So if we don't want to mess around with Shopify yet, we can just go ahead and type in our name and give it our phone number.
Hey Brendan, this is John from Apple. I got notified you recently abandoned your cart. Were you still interested in purchasing the iPhone 15 at all?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Great. I've just sent you a 15% off discount code to your number. It's valid for 24 hours.
So there you go. It was able to call me and ask me if I'd like a discount code. And if I just look at my messages here, I have gotten a message that says, hey Brendan, here's your 15% off discount code, valid for 24 hours. So I hope that was a helpful video in understanding how we can connect Vapi to make.com to build some pretty advanced systems for e-commerce. So once again, if you did want to get access to all of the prompts and make.com automations that I've showcased in this video, you can go ahead and get access to all of them for free by signing up to my free resource hub link in the description. If you are a business owner and you're looking for a custom system that's like this, or maybe something that's completely different, go ahead and book a call with me using my Calendly link in the description.